Jones' defamation trial is underway. Well, the newest one. And already Jones and his producers are trying to re-victimize the families of the children who were gunned down. According to reports, a producer for Infowars claimed to the Texas jury on Wednesday that the two grieving Sandy Hook parents that were launching this lawsuit were in fact not victimized by Alex Jones or his programs, but instead it is Jones that is the real victim. Oh, yes. Poor Alex Jones. Real victim. Big surprise, right? So now Infowars producer Daria Karpova was responding to the plaintiff lawyer Mark Bankston, who was representing Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, parents of Jesse Lewis, who was one of the 20 young children slain in the 2012 school massacre in Connecticut. She said, in response to Bankston asking Karpova this, quote, "Do you believe these two people are fake parents who inflicted emotional distress on America?" Now, look, the crux of the case against Alex Jones is that he, was saying that over and over and over, saying, yes, they are fake parents. The parents are fake. The kids are crisis actors. They didn't actually die. And it was all just a government way to come steal your guns. It's complete nonsense. It's nuttery. But Karpova then replied, "I don't believe that." Oh, interesting. "I believe that their grief is being used." Oh, really? By whom? Well, apparently, according to her, the lawyer. In fact, she says that the mother and father were being lied to by Mr. Bankston. Quote, "You're their enemy, not Jones, because you're lying to them. And you're using their grief to make bank." Ah, yes, of course. That must be it. You've cracked it. Yeah, yes. The attorney that is representing parents that have been demonstrably defamed. And again, this is not like this is the first trial that has shown defamation that has been ruled against Alex Jones, because you had a mountain of evidence, video evidence of Jones himself saying these things on camera to an audience, bringing on these, insane people who actually did harass the Sandy Hook families. But no, it's the lawyers. It's the lawyers. Those are the people who are lying. Alex Jones never lied. In fact, she added this: "I think that this reasonable jury here will see that the truth is on our side in this case." Wow. Again, there are hours and hours of videos of Jones calling the shooting a hoax, the parents, kids, and kids crisis actors, and saying, again, that the massacre was staged. Oh, he openly mocked these victims who had already lost their children, and then had to, in the case of, for example, in the Posner family, literally go into hiding. I mean, again, and the reason they had to go into hiding is because the fans wouldn't stop harassing them, calling them, emailing them, calling the police on them, filing fake police reports, trying to get them arrested, chasing after them. Lenny Posner, was forced to move about a dozen times. And of course, that didn't work. He had to continue moving. Lucy Richards, who was an avid Infowars fan, had actually, found his address and had threatened him, sent him death threats, credible death threats. She was sentenced to prison for, I believe it was 5 months. And so, again, this guy's living in constant fear of being found out, thanks to Alex Jones. I mean, I couldn't imagine having to go through first losing a child, and then having to hide. This guy goes to like different PO boxes to get his mail every day, like 3 different PO boxes. It's horrifying. Horrifying. Now, as for Heslin Lewis, because Posner had already had a a court rule in his favor that he had been defamed, Heslin and Lewis are both seeking $150 million in damages for Jones' lies. Now, that makes sense. Why? Because he made hundreds of millions of dollars off those very lies. He sells questionable, not even questionable pills, just straight up fake supplements that don't do anything, and prepper gear. Some of his biggest sales days actually came in the days where he had peddled the Sandy Hook lies. And now, again, he's already been found liable for defamation by courts in Texas and Connecticut. And now this trial is basically determining how much Jones must pay Heslin and Lewis. Now, again, to some people, $150 million might sound like a lot. Again, Jones made $165 million off these lies. But you also have to realize how much these people went through. After going through something that nobody should have to go through, and then not only being called a liar, but then having to move several times to avoid insane fans, going through these death threats, et cetera, et cetera. So when you look at all that stuff, kind of makes you feel like $150 million, pretty reasonable. Maybe they should go after more.